minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, we're very excited to be on the air today. I guess my spiritual people are telling me it's a special day in the lunar calendar, and oh my God, do I feel it. Do I feel it? It's a Wednesday. You know what that means. It's me solo on hour one. And then in hour two, my good friend Richard Holdridge is going to join us from WQVZ Radio, the sports beat, and just settle in, get comfortable. Woosah. We got a heck of a lot to get to here today on Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show as we roll on Game Plus streaming in hour one, WQVZ Radio podcast form. And then in hour two, that's when Richard Holdridge joins us from WQVZ. In the U.S. South. And I'll tell you, this is one of those days where I'm glad we've split up the country because even in the regions, let me get right down to business here. Quick 6 show topics and the warm-up brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel. They are offering the cruise of a lifetime for CFL fans. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. But the big story, there's a lot of big stories, and that's why I said get comfortable because we're going to get to them all. Because I can tell you the people in Eastern Canada don't care about the biggest news this morning that's dropped. My phone's going off. Calgary Flames radio. The Flames are no longer radio homeless. It was announced this morning by Calgary Sports Entertainment Corporation. Thank you for the email in my inbox. You immediately plan my day. The Flames and QR77 have announced a 5-year broadcast deal. Carlos in Indiana doesn't care about that. Utah Darren doesn't care about that. Kirk in Toronto doesn't care about that. But those of us hockey fans in Western Canada do, specifically Flames fans, and I'll be honest with you, this show has a massive, massive, massive Alberta following, Calgary imprint. I went to college there. Y'all know the story. I've done hundreds of shows out of Calgary, Grey Eagle Resort, Century Downs, all the rest. And we're going there next week to do a live show, so it's a big deal. Calgary Flames are on the radio. But can I just say this? You're starting to give me some credit, thank God, because it has been the best summer of my life for a lot of reasons. But one of them is that you're starting to realize that I do know what I'm talking about. And when Fan 960 pulled the plug on their station, however long ago it was, weeks ago, I don't know when it was, I said that day, relax, everybody, they're going to be on 770. And today they announced it. There's not a lot of radio stations for them to go. It's the existing talk station in the market. And today, voila, you have it. How many people change stations, lose their jobs, keep their jobs? I don't really know. And how this pertains with Mike Richards, I'm not totally sure with what he dropped here yesterday. I don't even know. It was kind of a surprise. He said he's going to be back on the air in Calgary September 5th. So it's a big deal, and that's the big news there. We can come back on that if you want, but it's really not a big deal. What I am happy about, two of my closest friends in the media in that market, that's their station, Mark Steven and Jock Wilson. They're on this show all the time. So the Flames are coming back, and Jock Wilson's like, on the very station that Peter Marr called the 1989 Stanley Cup Championship, the Flames are back. So, hey, it's big for them. I get it. But people in all the other places don't care, which reminds me, like in Vancouver, when are we going to get the announcement of the Canucks going on CKNW? That was the other obvious thing. So that's coming too. So I know what I'm talking about. Here we are, saw it coming. Ooh, I didn't need Kevin the Medium to tell me that. Okay, another one which is a little annoying, and I kind of felt like I would be jumping all over the place. It's my right. It's my show. I can do that. Because I open up the text. We got a daily viewer in Minnesota by the name of Dave Faulkner. He won a Memorial Cup with the Regina Pats in 1974. And he sent me this meme that's going around with the Hanson brothers dressed up in Indiana Fever garb in the WNBA. So I'm going to jump to this right now because I feel like WNBA, get out of my phone. I don't follow any of you. Why is this popping up on all of my social media feeds? It's annoying to me. But this is the headline, which I yanked from ESPN today. Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White gave an impassioned statement to reporters before Tuesday night's 106-92 win over the New York Liberty, in which she proclaimed, quote, the hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. Okay, that's as far as I'm willing to go down this road, because you know what? You guys have completely screwed this all up. The WNBA, you've been around for 30 years. All of a sudden, you're on the main stage, and you've completely effed it all up. I don't want to watch. Get the hell out of my phone. And people, please stop sending me stuff because there's other things that deserve our time, not them. You want to fight amongst yourselves and do the disgusting crap. You just get out of my sphere because we're positive over here. Hey. We're rolling. Now would be a good time to tell you the quick six show topics in the warm-up brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions when it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway. Trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. His email is neil@uniglobecarefree.ca. I'm kind of going to skip over the NFL in this particular segment. We only got a couple minutes left. We'll get to it a little more later this hour and a lot more when we go to air across Nevada and Las Vegas in hour two. I want to jump to the CFL because that's why a lot of you got here. Like I look in, they're all excited. Toronto gets the tempo. They suck. Is this what you want? Make sense. CFL poll question today for our friends at EMJ Marketing, Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau, is what is Canada's game of the Canadian football, Canada's game of the week. Let's get real about it, okay? So I'm an old white man. I know that's not cool. I laugh when people say CFL's for old white men. I'm an old white man, so. And, we always used to laugh and joke about CKRM when I was there on the radio there for 24 years about, it's only old people listen. Still trucking, still making money. And the CFL is the same. We're still going to be around. That's the Canadian Football League, which I love that we can just sink right into these topics here. Okay, this will keep you coming back after the break because something dawned on me about the Canadian Football League that I don't have time to get into in the minute that we have left before the break. So what I will tell you is running away with the poll results is the BC-Calgary game Thursday night. To be honest, I didn't even need to look at the other games. It's the first game of the week. Thursday, I'm like, oh, that's the game of the week. All the offshoots and storylines coming off of it, the importance of it in the West Division standings. I mean, Ottawa, Winnipeg, important to those two teams. It's like puppy love. Puppy love's important to the puppies, but not to everybody else. That's the Friday night game. Ottawa at Winnipeg. And then a Saturday doubleheader. They're actually, well, the Toronto-Edmonton game is very tantalizing to me. And Sask at Hamilton is not. And it's not to the voters either because BC Calgary's running away with a poll. So we're going to get into those games, the NFL stuff, the Blue Jays. We're going to dump on the WNBA more too when we come back on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Like I said, let's just slow down. It's just me and you here in hour one. That's what we do on Wednesdays. It's solo. I get to be the Larry King of sports talk. I love it. Sheila in Little Rock, Arkansas. You're on the hello. What does Sheila want to talk about? You all want to talk about something different today? That's fine. We got an hour to do it. And in hour two, Richard Holdridge will be joining us from the Sports Beat, WQVZ Radio. I was just on his show the other day. That station carries this show as well, the Rod Pedersen Show. And I will never forget Richard looking me dead in the face on the air and saying, Rod, why is your show so popular in West Central Georgia and East Alabama? And I'm like, I don't know why it's popular anywhere, especially there. But thanks. But anyways, Richard's going to come on. He lobbed the college football question at me, which I wasn't particularly ready for. But we're going to get into it deep next hour in the NFL with Richard Holdridge from the Sports Beat, WQVZ Radio. From the audience, I just said this WNBA stuff it's quite frankly sickening to me. And by the way, I raised 3 daughters. 2 of them played basketball, 1 college basketball. I mean, I get the mentality. I didn't like it then. And now it's what everybody's raging about. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, the Indiana Fever stuff is even worse here, given it's the local. How could it be worse? BW from Edmonton says, don't speak about WNBA near your phone. It's crazy what topics show up on your Facebook ads. Listen, trust me, bro. Me and my friends are not talking about the WNBA. That's no. Joe is watching in Manhattan. Joe Lazito. He says, personally, I think old white men are pretty awesome. Hashtag vintage. We are awesome. I'm just saying it's been kind of a swear word if you're an old white man like me, and I'm just saying that's what I am, and I like what I like. I tried to give the WNBA some time. I did last week. You all know that. And within 10 seconds, I saw Caitlin Clark getting punched in the gut after the whistle. I saw the other girl, Sophie Cunningham, getting stroked across the face as she was driving the lane. I'm out. I'm done. Fix your stuff. Kevin the Medium checks in. Kevin the Medium, he speaks to dead people. He's in our viewing audience today, or tomorrow he'll be co-hosting hour one with me. Hey, Kev. Trying to get on point here. I told you, though, that we all had a lot to talk about today. 902-518-3033. That is the text line. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. 902-518-3033. Can we get back on point? Ron? Okay, so this is the thing. Point one, because you showed up late, Jeff, the Stamps fan. The very first thing, I do it every day, the big story. Because we are in all these different regions. The biggest story in Western Canada, it is today, is that the Calgary Flames, a month after their all-sports radio station got the lights turned out and the keys handed back by the station owner, Rogers Communications, they've announced today they're going to QR77. 20 minutes in, 50 minutes in, Jeff the Stamps fan shows up. Oh, hey, guys, did you hear? Yeah, the Beatles broke up too, Jeff. Did you hear that? We opened the show with it. So we're moving on. I told you that I had point two was the WNBA stuff. Done with that. Point three is the Canadian Football League stuff, because I know a lot of you showed up here today wanting to hear that. If you saw our streaming numbers, you would fall over, especially in this first hour. Over half of our podcast downloads now come from Toronto, and I got a pretty good idea why. They want the CFL talk. And so this is what I think about the Canadian Football League. Everybody says it's an old white man's league. That's how we got into this. I'm an old white man, so it's for me. I love it. That's what my friends are talking. Why is that not coming up on my phone? I'm not going to lie. That's what my friends and I are talking about all the time is the CFL. Why is that not coming up on my phone? Certain other things are. But anyways, what I've realized is while the NFL is growing, and trust me, we're getting there, and there's all these games tomorrow. You guys yesterday were writing in about it, and I'm like, can you just slow down? The games aren't until Thursday. But in the country of Canada, where I reside for 3 months in the summer before returning to Florida for 9 months, this is what I see with the Canadian Football League. Their fans are the hardcore, die-hard CFL fans for decades, like a lot of you that have shown up. the football people themselves treat it with the reverence, like I do, of the NFL, college football, or higher in terms of their love for the league. That's the coaches, the players, the executives, just the staff. It would be a disservice to not talk about this because I know none of the other shows are. But that's their problem, not ours. We love the league. We'll get talking about it. But the NFL, they pull in the John Q. Public, the Sally six-pack, the ones that aren't really anchored to any because the NFL's in your face all the time in both countries. And it is skewing a little bit to the younger population. I get that. And their stories are interesting. Like the practice fight the other day. I'll say this again. Can somebody please clarify to me why? Well, I know why. Why do you think there was no video of the Kirk Cousins-Max Crosby fight on Friday? No video of it. Not even a photo. Because I haven't seen one. And I mean, I'm on my phone quite a bit. I work in the media. I'm covering the NFL. You go to ChatGPT, it says the Rod Pedersen Show covers the NFL extensively, and we do. There's no photo of that, no video of this fight with Max Crosby. Kind of a big deal, right? Because the reason is, if you have your camera rolling and you're a media person there, like if you're a TV station, or if you're a fan who won a lottery to get into the damn practice, and you pull your phone out to film it, they will taser you, take you to the ground, and kick your ass out, and block you forever. Now you know. 902-518-3033. Good morning, Argo Bill. Make yourself at home. We're in one. 902-518-3033. I'm just checking up with the... okay. Well, I said you all want to talk about something different. Sean in Vancouver logs in. Sean has entered the chat. He says, I watched and listened to you on Flow Sports last night. Roddy, great work. Yes, Flow College Baseball. I appreciate that. A lot of you have asked how our baseball club made out last night. I didn't even have it in my Quick Six show topics, but we were in the playoffs in this NCAA Summer League. We lost. We set an attendance record last night at home, but we lost game one of a best of three. They're going up to Saskatoon for game two tonight, facing elimination. My Moose Jaw Miller Express. To be honest, I don't expect we're going to lose. I expect we'll be back Thursday night for game three, and I'll be broadcasting that one on Flow College Baseball. I only do the home games, but it is, without question, look me in the eye. I've been calling games for 38 years. I don't mind saying it. I have been since I was in high school. And this is by far the closest team I've ever been with. And that includes not just the players, but the staff and the parents. And their parents were sending me messages like this. I actually had this written down. One of the families from Wichita, they said, if you're ever coming through Wichita, we got you. And I'm thinking, I don't think I'll ever be going through Wichita. But at the end of the 2011 Canadian Football League season, we had an offensive lineman by the name of Dan Goodspeed. He and I got along like that. Think of Randy Quaid, Cousin Eddie. That's Dan Goodspeed. And he goes, if you're ever in Florida, look me up. I'm like, I'm never going to be in Florida. Now I live there. So maybe I'll be in Wichita, Kansas. And if I do, I'll be on the pull-out couch at the Wallachek family's place. We're just all that close. But I don't expect it to end tonight. Now, you can't think that way. I think about when the Florida Panthers went up 3-0 in the Stanley Cup final against Edmonton, and all their staff and all their families and their pets flew to Edmonton for Game 4 because they're going to finish the sweep. And they got shabackled. They got motorboated 7-0 by the Oilers and came back to Florida with their tail between their legs, and then lost the next two after that to go to Game 7, tied 3-3. Please listen to this when I tell you the Panthers ended up winning Game 7 of that Stanley Cup final, and afterwards, head coach Paul Maurice said, what did you think the morning of the game? Did you think that you could be on the cusp of the biggest choke in Stanley Cup final history? And Pomo goes, I did not allow myself to think about it. I did not allow myself to even have that enter my mind. That he might be the mentally toughest. All the coaches are mentally tough, but he might be the toughest. Anyways, back on point. I don't expect we're going to lose tonight, and we'll be back here for Game 3. And I'm not going to the game. I got too much going on. I got to be on the radio at 6 a.m. Thursday here I'm not going on the road. Wayne writes in from Victoria, 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line. He says, absolutely, Rod. The BC at Calgary game is the best game of the week. Both teams need the win. I'll remind you, this is the Canadian Hour. Therefore, we're talking Canadian Football League. Thank you, Wayne, for that. Everybody's that's what's leading the poll Thursday night. BC Lions at the Calgary Stampeders. Ken in Mississauga writes in and says, NFL getting viewing audience of 7 million for the Hall of Fame game is incredible. Over 7 times the UFL championship game. Well, it's funny you say that because I was just going to say, I can't name you one player that played in the United Football League game, championship game. And I couldn't tell you one. Well, I could tell you a couple of players that played in the Hall of Fame game last week, like Carson Beck of the Arizona Cardinals, or the guy that I had to write it down. This scored the winning touchdown. What the hell's the guy's name? Haynes King scored the game-winning touchdown for the Carolina Panthers. Where's Eric from Virginia today, by the way? Where are you hiding? The lone Carolina Panthers fan in our viewing audience. I still don't. Haynes King, right? Was the dude's name, scored the winning touchdown. Walk-off touchdown in the Hall of Fame. I guess that's the one thing about the NFL that I got to say. They are infallible, unscrew-upable. What was I telling you about the Dolphins? And I will get back to the CFL stuff. I didn't really even mention the other games, but the Dolphins are projected to win one game. One game this year. One. And yet they're having a lottery with fans to buy tickets to go to practice to watch the Miami Dolphins. The point is, you don't got to be good in the NFL to draw 7 million people for a preseason game where we're watching on television. We don't know any of the players. It's remarkable what they did. It takes money to market. It's not about that. It's about being visible. It's about putting the work in. It's all these things that a lot of other leagues don't do. Jason in Red Deer. Haynes King, right? That's what I said, right? I thought I had it written down here, but I didn't. For an old white man, I still got some brain cells. Jason in Red Deer says there's all kinds of videos of Crosby giving Cousins a handshake and helmet tap yesterday in practice. Right. It's all okay, and it's all good. It's not anybody's fault. But the NFL, and for that matter, all the pro leagues, they allow you to see what they want you to see. To be honest, it's no different than any of our social media. Do you show your worst moments on social media? No, you don't. You just put your best moments on social media. The leagues are no different. 902-518-3033. For John Ohm. Oh, and by the way, hang on, Kirk in Toronto. I'll be coming to you after the break. He wrote in, John Ohm, about the Blue Jays. I don't have time here because we have less than a minute. I'll get to it after the break. But the Blue Jays, it's a good news, bad news type of thing for them. It kind of depends on which side of the toilet seat you're on. So we can talk about that. So what do we had today? NHL radio, NFL training camps, CFL game of the week, getting to the Blue Jays, WNBA, and the toxicity that is that league. And we're like halfway through it. Sheila in Little Rock, hello. Whatever you'd like, let's go. 902-518-3033. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show, Game Plus streaming, podcast, and, of course, your home of sports and sports talk in West Central Georgia and East Alabama, WQVZ. We'll be right back.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote Rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
I don't know why it is, but it's when I'm solo, it seems to go way faster. I'm trying to get to everything that I can. When we talk hockey, which, disclaimer, there won't be a lot of here today, but it's brought to you by the Mad Greek. Well, I'm going there for lunch today, whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites. Trust me, it's good. It's the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. I feel like when you are watching football, especially this fall, college and NFL variety, but CFL too, you're going to want to be ordering the Mad Greek. Please don't be distracted by the kids playing basketball over my shoulder. Thank you. I will say this. I never even got to this. Point one, Calgary Flames going to QR 770 radio, which I told you they would a month ago. Point two, WNBA is toxic and distasteful to me. Point three, NFL training camp tour. Point four, Canadian Football League, Montreal receiver Tyson Philpott, Saskatchewan receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and Toronto receiver DeMonte Coxey have been named the top players of the week for Week 10 of the CFL season. Philpott recorded 10 receptions for 131 yards and 3 tuds in the Alouettes' 48-30 win over Edmonton on Saturday. Listen up. Philpott from Delta, BC has 1,154 receiving yards through 9 games. 1,154 yards receiving in 9 games. So, tell me, you want to look up what's the record for receiving yards in a season in the Canadian Football League? Now, our old general manager, Roy Shivers, originally from Holly, Arkansas, he say, it ain't nothing. Get 1,000 yards. You should get 1,000 yards in an 18-game season. Just saying you should, but not a lot of guys do, and especially not in 9 games. So congratulations, Tyson Philpott. He's entering the chat as the most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League as we near the halfway turn. By the way, when I say that we're not going to be talking a lot of hockey, we won't. The biggest news today in our hockey circles is that the Calgary Flames going to QR 770 Calgary, which I said they would a month ago. The other thing is now don't get offended or upset when I say this, but we got some unbelievable things going on down there with NHL. With NHL radio, NHL in Florida, radio in the U.S. South, worlds colliding. I said this off the top of the show. There's some lunar eclipse thing going on. Everything's coming together today. And I love it. And I love being right in the middle of it. Brendan writes in from the YQR. He says, great to see sports returning to radio in Calgary, but thanks to pioneers like you, Rod, somehow there is more sports content for the Riders in CFL in Saskatchewan today than the Flames have in Calgary. Don't think that has a lot to do with me. That has a lot to do with you, Brendan, but thank you, the audience. You just can't get enough of it. We just feed you. I used to say when I was the voice of the Rough Riders for all that time, Rider fans are like, my brother used to work at the Wild Animal Park here in this city. Oh, the stories are legendary. But he said when they fed the lions, and they would feed them steak, the more you fed them, the hungrier they would get. And I never forgot that. They never got filled up steaks, whatever they fed them, they just kept getting hungrier. I'm like, that's like Rider fans. The more you give them, the more they want. So at one time, I'm calling the games on the radio, hosting an hours-long radio show daily, a television show weekly, writing the blog, writing a newspaper column that ran in 23 newspapers. They just couldn't get enough. No, the Flames don't have anywhere near that. You're right. I guess you're not wrong. I never stopped to think about it. Jason says from Red Deer, he's got a lot of interesting things to say today. He says, are those kids kicking the basketballs behind you? Our gym teacher would kick our ass if he saw us kicking the basketballs. And then, how would I know? I'm looking at you. And by the way, I also said, when you think about it, like, empathy is a really big thing. And I guess for all the new viewers and listeners that tune in, I am a certified, licensed mental health and addiction recovery coach in the U.S. and Canada. That's what I do for a living when I'm not on the air here, which, by the way, when I say I'm not going to Saskatoon tonight, that's part of the reason for Game 2 of our playoff series. I got too much going on. You all think I'm just on the air for 2 hours a day. That's fine, but that's not the case. You also probably think that a priest only works on Sundays, right? You all thought that, right? But anyways, empathy, when you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes, it really changes your perspective. So I'll say this again. It kind of just dawned on me over the last 24, 48 hours. When you look at the teams, the NFL teams, NHL, MLB, even the CFL teams, they don't want to put their negative stuff on social media. And you shouldn't put yours on either. Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says, that's right, Rod. Face your issues. Don't Facebook them. I'll never understand that. Like, I'll be honest, if I get cancer, and I won't, but you won't know. I won't be putting it on social media. I understand a lot of people do. I just don't get the mentality of that. I just don't put the bad news on there. But that's just me. I say it all the time. Tell your therapist, tell your coach, don't tell social media. But nobody's listening. So anyways, for those that just tuned in, that's why I'm saying the fight between Max Crosby and Kirk Cousins, listen, not for 1 second did I think that it wasn't legit. But if it's running in a team period, 11 on 11, in an NFL training camp, cameras aren't allowed. This is not new, by the way. It's not new. So that happened, and trust me, there's reporters there. They're just not allowed to film or take photos. You can't. That's the whole deal. You want to be here? Put your phone away. Thanks. That's how it works. And again, it's not new. Jason in Red Deer. Well, okay. The record, thank you. He said you have unofficial fact checker here. Or researcher. The Canadian Football League record for receiving yards in a season is 2,036, held by Alan Pitts. And what a stud he was. When I look at those Stampeders helmets with the white horse on them, I think of Alan Pitts a lot. I do. More so Flutie, but they played together and they made beautiful music together. So the record is 2,036 yards by Alan Pitts. Philpott is on pace for 2,308 yards. And then I'll be honest with you, the second they say on pace for, drop it, because nobody ever hits that. I kind of feel like Tyson Philpott will. You know, the guy that scores a hat trick in the first game of the season, they're like, he's on pace for 247 goals this season. Or the second you're getting out ChatGPT to figure out what the Blue Jays playoff chances are, you're probably not going to make the playoffs. We have a mathematical chance. Sure, you need to believe that. You, in that dressing room, need to believe that you have a chance, but they don't have a chance. What else you got? We're just clipping along. Ted in Yonkers. Hello, you're on the... Oh, I said Kirk in Toronto. I would get to you. 902-518-3033. He writes in. He says, hey, Rod, 3 Down Nation are in agreement that Chad Kelly's league-leading 13 interceptions are a big problem. Remember the 2023 Eastern Final? Kelly threw multiple picks and the Argonauts got blown out. Kirk also says, I think Argo great Terry Greer had over 2,000 yards in 1983. I heard that one of the announcers called him Terry Green the other day. Is that true? As you know, I have my sound down, so I don't usually have the sound up when I'm watching any sports. They called him Terry Green. The legendary, his name's on the damn wall in the stadium, Terry Greer. Oh, and the other thing is, don't be fooled about the interceptions, okay? I mean, I don't know if this is true anymore, because this is what we've established many times. I'm an old white man. But there was at one time, Ron Lancaster led the CFL in both yards thrown and interceptions thrown. The little general, the greatest Rough Rider of all. Now, is that a problem with the Argos? Does Mike Miller want that, the first-year head coach? No. Are you willing to overlook some things? I think so. The unofficial fact checker, Jason in Red Deer. Do you want to look up who's the all-time interception leader in the Canadian? I know Les Brown is the leader in catching them. The great Les Brown. With an E on the end of Brown, and Les with 2 S's, I believe. Definitely an E on the end of Brown. Who's the all-time leader? At one time, it was Ron Lancaster. Can you live with it? If your team's winning? I kind of think you can. You won the game. We'll keep it rolling when we return. It's the RP Show, Game Plus streaming podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly, we built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
We are back. I don't know if we're going to get to a sports update today at all. We've kind of been talking about it all day, but if we do, it's brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. If we don't, it's also brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Shop Ultimate Fan Zone, your authentic MLB fan store for official jerseys, hats, T-shirts, hoodies, and more. Game day every day at UFZ. Got a special note from my good friend Paul Appleese, the head coach of Team Canada at the World Flag Football Championships. The men's and women's teams are there. He wanted me to give them a shout-out, a note of encouragement. Go Team Canada, looking to qualify for the Olympics. Listen, this is where you are going to prove that you are we in Canada are a world superpower in the sport of flag football. So go get him. Go get him, Coach Lapo. The women's team as well. Go Canada, go in Germany at the World Flag Championships. You got it. I just, thank God, I looked down at my notes. I'm like, oh, you got to, Lapo said, can you give us a shout out on your show? So consider it done. Now, don't let me down. Very uncomfortable when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, broadcasting for USA football. And they were playing Canada. But I got through it because I'm a professional. Hey. Don't use my line. From Gold Bolt. Identify yourself. He writes in on YouTube under the account Gold Bolt. He says, Red Blacks versus Bombers will be two hobos fighting over a sandwich. That's my line. Got me in a lot of heck for that, too. Can you guys just keep writing in? You're entertaining me more than I'm entertaining myself here at this point. 902-518-3033. So Kirk in Toronto. I don't want to diagnose him, but he worries a lot. He worries a lot. And he says it's a big... The guys at 3 Down agree with... I don't care what they have to say. I don't care what they have to say. Nice guys. They're nice guys, but I don't care what they have to say. They haven't coached it down. They have not. So they're all worried about Chad Kelly's interceptions. So what I tell you. I said, last I heard, Ron Lancaster is the career leader, the little general in interceptions in the Canadian football. Pretty damn good, eh? Retired as the all-time leading passer in CFL history. Oh, let's go to the Google machine. The CFL career leader for interceptions thrown by a quarterback is Ron Lancaster, who tossed 396 picks over his storied 19-year career, playing for the Ottawa Roughriders and Saskatchewan Roughriders from 1960 to 1978. Oh, and by the way, who's number 2? Danny McManus. Who's number 3? Damon Allen. Who's number 4? Henry Burris. Who's number 5? Anthony Calvillo. All Hall of Famers. Kirk, don't worry about it. Go for a walk. They're winning. You want to know anything about CFL history, let me know. And just so you know, this is why I masquerade as a football guy. When I say this was the best summer of my life, there's a lot of reasons why. But when I went into that Hall of Fame of CKRM radio and I told them all, yeah, I did 20 seasons as the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but I didn't know a thing about football at all until I got the job. And I've told you all this. I locked myself in a closet for 3 days. And I didn't memorize. I learned the history book, the rule book, and the league directory. And this is what you get. So quite frankly, when I turn on the air now, turn on the radio, a podcast, television, and I see all these mistakes being made, it really pisses me off because I see them not putting in the work that I put in. But I also can't change it. So here we are. 902-518-3033. Goldboat still has not identified himself. No. Ken, that wasn't a joke. Well, number one, Carlos in Indiana writes it. He says, Brett Favre threw a lot of interceptions and he didn't get benched. Oh, my God. Henry Burris is coming on here tomorrow, and I might get him to tell some some Brett Favre stories. Because of all, it's not probably. Of all the people that I've worked with in decades in pro football, Henry Burris and I are the closest. He's my best friend in the game. And so we spent a lot of time away from the stadium together. And he said he would be sitting in a coach's meeting with the Packers. I want to say Mike Holmgren was the head coach. Favre's not in the room, okay? It's the quarterback meeting. Favre's not there. And they're going through the film of the guys' drops, their footwork in practice because they don't get into the game because Brett takes every snap in the game. And the Holmgren's yelling at Henry for his footwork. And Henry said, well, but Brett does the same thing. And Holmgren goes, we're not talking about Brett. 5 minutes before practice starts, Favre would roll in his white pickup truck, lip full of chew, Copenhagen, go out and light it all on fire. We're not talking about Brett. We're talking about you. There's a lesson in there somewhere. Vintage Sasko writes that he says Ottawa at Winnipeg is Mexican Heritage Night. As the Red Blacks are going to go John and can you spell that out a little more? It's Devin, writes in. He says, it's been a while. Good to see you guys still going well and strong. Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks for tuning in, Devin. I appreciate you. Oh, we're going strong. Better than ever, as a matter of fact. Anyways, Ken, out there in Mississauga, Ontario, writes that he says, you're lying about onion rings. I thought he meant onion rings. That was funny yesterday. No, that's a true story. On Monday, I ran into former CFL Players Association President Steve Mazurek and a Hall of Fame Rough Rider here. And he was with two of his brothers, Ted and Gary, on Monday. And his brother, Gary, they're old, like me. I'm old. They're even older. And they knew who I was. So Maz and I get a photo together because I always got the camera out. And we are really close back in the day and clearly still are. And his friend Gary looks and goes, what about our rings? This is we're at Boston Pizza, just so you know, restaurant. And I said, what? What, our rings? When do we get our rings? I literally thought he meant onion rings. Like, when are they coming out of the kitchen? I'm like, I don't know. And Steve goes, no, he's talking about season ticket holders get replica Grey Cup rings. He wants to know when they get it. I said, I don't know. I haven't worked for the team for 7 years, and now you know why I live in Florida, because I can't every single day, every day, all day. It's riders in that town. God bless them, but I can't and won't be part of it. Can't. Now you know the rest of the story. It's just, I love them, but I can't deal with it all day and won't deal with it all day, every day. If you haven't lived it, you wouldn't know. And since we're on the Lancaster theme, if you go back and watch that DVD series they did back in the day, I can't remember what it was called. It was amazing, though. The documentaries on every single team. And with Lancaster, he talked about living in Regina and how you can't get away from the football talk all day, every day. And he goes, but when you leave, you kind of miss it. I don't. I don't, Ronnie. I don't miss it. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says that's pretty good that you could retain all that info in a short period. Well, I was young. Number one, I was young. I was 25, remembering all that Canadian Football League information. And number two, it was my job. Talk to any winner. I mean, I talked to the coaches about that. You do what you have to do to be successful. And quite frankly, in Florida, I've told you this, I've been asked a lot to get into basketball announcing. And I'm like, no, I did it with football. It was too stressful. I'm too old to learn a new sport. I'm doing some baseball stuff down there, but I played it. It's not hard. Vintage Sasko. There we go. CFL traditions. Those were beauties. Oh, they were. I loved them. The double blue one was probably my favorite one on the Argos. Well, the Rider one was my favorite. But, the Argos have always been my second favorite team. That's why I have such a soft spot in my heart for Toronto Argonauts fans. And a lot of them come here for the talk that they don't get, anywhere. Oh, yawn. Oh, whatever on the taco thing. It's was too early in the morning to try and make me laugh. On the interceptions thing, Kevin the Medium writes in. He says, when looking at interceptions, you need to look at two stats. Touchdowns tossed in relation to interceptions. Babe Ruth had more strikeouts than most players. He also hit home runs. Well, of course. I mean, Kirk is a smart guy, but I'm saying, what can you live with? Ricky Ray holds the CFL record for most touchdowns versus least interceptions. Ricky Ray holds it. Vernon Adams is threatening it. Kirk would like you to know. Yes, Kevin the Medium. Chad Kelly has 18 touchdown passes after 8 games. So he's just saying, look, we don't need to get in an argument here. We're having a discussion. I'm saying, what can you live with? The Argos have clearly made the decision they can live with the bad side of Chad Kelly, football related, because the upside's so great. Wayne in BC says, hey, I'm happy to see all the love for the Alouettes and Davis Alexander, and they deserve it. I hope the media keeps not talking about the Riders. Fair enough. Next hour, Richard Holdridge joining us from WQVZ Radio, the Sports Beat. For you hardcore footballers, that chat will be for you. The guy that said, Rod, why is your show so popular in West Central Georgia and East Alabama? You talk about whack. I don't know. Why don't you tell me? You live there. But he actually said, because you talk about everything. I listen to the consumers. A lot of businesses should take note. We'll be back with Hour 2 after this.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
All aboard! Picking up viewers in Las Vegas and all across Nevada on Silver State Sports. We keep trucking along on Game Plus, across Canada, podcast form, and of course WQVZ Radio. And speaking of WQVZ Radio, one of my brethren from there, the host of the Sports Beat, Richard Holdridge, will be joining us in the guest segment coming up later on this hour. Richard Holdridge from the Sports Beat, just so you know, big NFL guy, big college football guy. So get those questions and comments in, ready to roll right now. 902-518-3033. As we say, this is the U.S. Hour. It's the second hour of the program. We've been going for an hour. We've been trucking strong with the Canadian Hour, and I do have to answer the viewers. You know this is the most interactive show on your television, the radio. I'm not afraid to go live and take the comments from the viewers, unlike a lot of hosts on the air these days. But yeah, I do play-by-play college baseball, and so Monty wrote in and he said, "Are you going to be at Game 2 tonight?" And the fact of the matter is, no, I don't do road games. Our Millers lost last night, Game 1 of the Eastern Final. It's a best-of-3 series. They're going up to Saskatoon tonight for Game 2. I won't be there. I got too much to do. Enjoy the game. You can tune in on Flow College Baseball. All right. The Quick Six Show topics, they are brought to you by our friends, as you should know by now, at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official and preferred travel partner of the Rod Pedersen Show, and the Canadian Football League's BC Lions. We didn't talk any NFL in hour one, like at all. So let me do it again. The big story is the NFL across America. And take your pick of all the things on the buffet. They really like the broadcasting stories on this show. Our viewers do. So CBS Sports President David Pedersen said Tuesday that he does not have a timeline for a decision about Tony Romo's future. Romo, who the network's lead NFL analyst, is on leave following his arrest last month in Wisconsin on suspicion of operating a vehicle while under the influence. Pedersen said during a network event, quote, "It's an evolving situation and therefore we're still assessing," unquote. Here's the code. We're waiting to see what the reaction would be to Tony not being on the air. And we're also waiting to see how J.J. Watt does in the broadcast booth. So if people want Tony back, we'll bring him back. If people don't miss him, we're not bringing him back. And there's the message of how things go now. Back in my day, we've established through hour one that I'm an old white man. Back in the day, we used to get away with things when we were publicly known people. Now they make an example of you. Thank God I'm out of that era and not doing dumb things anymore. That's the one. It's like we had the poll question a week or two ago when it happened 2 weeks ago. Should Tony lose his job? Over 70% of you said no. Don't matter what you think. Don't matter what I think. It matters what David Pedersen thinks. And he's still waiting to see the reaction from the viewing audience and how J.J. Watt does, which I am assuming J.J. Watt's going to be great. And does it even matter anymore? Tom Brady, few people love Tom Brady more than me. He's not that great of a color guy, to be perfectly honest with you. He belongs in a coaching management role with the Raiders. Thank God the NFL's looked the other way and said, you can do both because you're Tom. And I'm also okay with that. Other NFL news. This is still on point one. The Minnesota Vikings named Kyler Murray their starting quarterback. Coach Kevin O'Connell confirmed Tuesday it was the expected conclusion to the team's quarterback competition, despite a rocky series of practices leading to the decision. Murray has been the heavy favorite to win the job from the moment he signed a one-year, $1.3 million contract March 12th after his release by the Arizona Cardinals. Don't cry, J.J. McCarthy fans, of which I am one. There is a lot of politics in sports. There's a lot of politics in politics. There's a lot of politics in news, government, blah, blah, blah. There isn't when it comes to the QB1 position, in my opinion, in the National Football League. In that, the only reason Kyler Murray was named the starter is because they think, Kevin O'Connell thinks he gives them the best chance to win games, end of story. I love J.J. McCarthy. Loved his Michigan story. I love the fact that he admitted that he was dealing with mental health issues on his way to winning the Rose Bowl and a natty with the Michigan Wolverines. I love that. I said it last hour. I'll say it again for the benefit of those that weren't watching then. I'm a licensed, certified mental health addiction recovery coach. I walked through the fire. And for J.J. McCarthy to admit those things, that has no bearing on his play on the field. But he was outperformed by Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's older. And I hope for Kyler Murray's sake that he leads the Vikings to the promised land. My God, he'd be the first to do it. Yeah, that's what's happening in many. Quarterback Jalen Hurts' speed has been standing out at Eagles training camp, and members of the defense are taking notice. Pro Bowl defensive tackle Jalen Carter came into training camp about 10 pounds lighter, but is still having a hard time catching Jalen Hurts. He said, quote, "I don't know what it is, but I'm watching and I'm running after him. It's like a movie. It feels like I'm going slow," Carter said. Two things. Let's hope it's not a horror movie. And number two, it's that age-old Lawrence Taylor story. You've all heard it from the 80s when he walked up to Bill Parcells at Giants camp, his coach, and he goes, "Oh, coach, these kids are getting faster." "No, LT, you're getting slower." The clock started that day. Also in the National Football League, New York Jets cornerback Quantez Stiggers was taken to hospital by ambulance after he briefly lost consciousness during a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Tuesday. Jets coach Aaron Glenn said the 24-year-old Stiggers was conscious and talking on the field before being put on a stretcher and taken for further examination. Let's hope it's just for precaution. I'd kind of hope that we were out of that. You know, the whole COVID thing came up last week ad nauseum. It's kind of been put to bed. Aaron Rodgers brought it up. Evander Kane of the San Jose Sharks brought it up and ruffled a whole bunch of feathers. Fauci brought it. Remember the abundance of caution. You are all feeling it, right? The pendulum's, it's coming back. Like, which should be NHL Hall of Famer Theoren Fleury. He's not, but he's a Hall of Fame career. He's just not in the Hall of Fame. He and I argue this. No, we debate. We don't argue it. He says we're too far gone, we're too screwed as a world. I'm like, Theo, we can't believe that. We have to believe that it's coming back, and I feel that we have evidence that it's coming back in a variety of, I've seen it for myself. But the abundance of caution thing, in this case, take him off on the stretcher, give him a day off. I mean, Quantez Stiggers probably wants to be on the field. Hey, Ryan, Cardinal Ryan, ordained minister that watches every day from Saratoga, New York. Is Quantez Stiggers back on the field today? Can you get us a report on that? I don't have time to surf all the training camps. My guess is Stiggers is back on the field. This was just precaution. What about the unnecessary angst and anxiety moves like that cause people? Has anybody thought of that? No, they have not thought of that. I was still on point one. NFL. Point two, Stiggers is a Canadian Football League alum. I'll run this by you as point two because it is summer. Montreal Alouettes receiver Tyson Philpott, Saskatchewan receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and Toronto receiver Devontae Coxie have been named the top players for Week 10 of the Canadian Football League season. Tyson Philpott, whose father Corey was amazing in the Canadian Football League as a tailback. I want to say I called his games, but we've established that I'm old. I can't remember if I think I called Corey Philpott. He was never on my team. But anyways, Tyson Philpott has 1,154 receiving yards through 9 games. We made our picks yesterday with Scruffy. They'll be posted later today at rodpeterson.com. Twice voted Canada's sports blog of the year, by the way. Our picks are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Pump Jack's Saloon, Weyburn and Estevan. They are your sports watching headquarters. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. Hey, I wonder if Roy Shivers has discovered our show yet in Henderson, Nevada, where we air on Silver State Sports. He was our general manager. Last time I called him, he hung up on me, but that's okay. I've got a thick skin. But anyways, when we were getting along, he was our general manager for 6 seasons. 6.5. But he said, not a big deal. You get 1,000 yards. Anybody should get 1,000 yards, 18-game season. Yes, anybody could, but few do. And Tyson Philpott has done it in half a season. And we've established the record is just over 2,000 yards in a season. He's on pace for 2,300 yards, Tyson Philpott. It's a hell of a story. Did I mention again, our picks are for Pump Jacks. Week 11. Well, that's the poll question, by the way, is what's Canada's game of the week? We do it every Wednesday all CFL season. I'll say it again. The U.S. viewers love our CFL talk because they love the league. I was saying it earlier. In Canada, the die-hard, decades-long CFL fans are loving it. I'm seeing younger people picking up on it too. It's just got a bad rap. It's got an image problem. Young kids are still loving it because it's a great product. But the football people, the players, the coaches, the management, the staff, they love the league too. And America, the football people love the CFL. I love this when, I'll be back in 25 days back home in Florida for the winter, and I do so much work with Florida High School Athletic Association in football and baseball. But the CFL fans go, Rod, have those players heard of the CFL? Of course they have. Think of it this way. Flip it. We growing up in Canada as hockey kids, have you heard of the American Hockey League? Of course. Well, I know 20 guys have played in it. And the IHL and the East Coast Hockey League and all the United Hockey League, all those leagues. Of course we heard of it. We're hockey people. The football people have heard of the Canadian Football League. Stop asking. Point 3, because I can't get this out of my phone. And before we stop and observe the 111 Eastern Daily Tribute, Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White gave an impassioned statement to reporters before Tuesday night's 106-92 win over the New York Liberty, in which she proclaimed the hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. I feel like now would be a good time, right on 111 Eastern, 1111 Mountain, to just pause. We are all connected. Let's live in the end where we want to be. Let's live there. Unless you want to fight and hate, I don't. Let's do it together. If you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. I'm putting that in there because I brought it up last hour. It was like my second topic. 111 is the point. Stop and observe if you. That's what it is for our live audience right now. Look at the clock. 11:11 Mountain. But I'm annoyed. And it's not your fault, Dave Faulkner, who's watching in Minnesota. He does every day. Memorial Cup champion hockey player. Sent me this. I've seen, you're not the only guy to send me the meme of the Hanson brothers from the Slapshot movie in Indiana Fever gear. Hey, WNBA, everybody's laughing at you. Is that what you want? I don't think that's what you want. I talked about this earlier in the program. Las Vegas Raiders. Why is there no video or photos of the fight between Kirk Cousins and Max Crosby? You know why? Because they didn't want to put it out there. Do you put out on social media the stuff that you don't want people to see? No, you don't. So I don't blame the NFL teams or NHL teams or MLB teams for only wanting positive stuff out there. And if the media puts out negative stuff, that is at the peril of the media because the teams don't want you doing that. And so the point being, WNBA, I've given you a chance. I don't sit here. I raised 3 daughters. 2 of them played high-level basketball. So I'm not anti-women's sports. You guys need to fix your stuff, WNBA. And, if I was the commissioner of that league, and I know her ass is on fire, people are bitching about her all the time. That's the other thing. Players come out bitching about the commissioner. Do you see anybody, and I mean anybody, say anything untoward about Roger Goodell or Gary Bettman, the 2 leagues that I follow the most in America? No. It is a butt-kissing contest with those commissioners. I remember John Cooper, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I was in the room the day before the winter game in Tampa Bay. He goes, "How great is our commissioner? He dropped the temperature to 35 degrees Fahrenheit for an outdoor game in Tampa. How great is Gary Bettman?" I'm like, oh, John Cooper's no dummy. He was on Wall Street at one time. Anyways, point 1, NFL. Point 2, CFL. Point 3, WNBA. Fix your stuff. And I'm not hating. I tried, man. You're crapping in your own front yard. That's a you problem, not a me problem. We'll get to Blue Jays later because coming up next, Richard Holdridge. I hope he's had some time to think about his question he posed to me Monday that frankly gave me lockjaw, and I'm not usually confused when I get questions. Like, Rod, both our shows are on WQVZ. Why is your show so popular in West Central Georgia and East Alabama? It is? I guess. We've been on the air for 7 years there now. They haven't kicked us off, so I don't know. I never thought about it. Our chat with Richard Holdridge is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Building a shop? Are you building a shop, a barn, a rink maybe in your house, a rink or commercial space? Prairie Panels can help you with that. They provide high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or 306-985-0050. We're going to focus, and Richard knows this, NFL and college football. I wasn't quite ready for his college football questions the other day because I'm in the throes of a baseball season right now. But I think you handled it okay. But I know you got questions. A lot of our viewers do. Get them in now. 902-518-3033 on the text line, brought to you by our friends at Western Dodge. Gosh knows there ain't enough. There is no shortage of things to talk about in those leagues. Maybe some other things pop up as well. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on Silver State Sports, Game Plus, podcast, and WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. I almost should have put up a disclaimer or a list or a cue or something, because I said Richard Holdridge, our next guest from the Sports Beat, WQVZ Radio. Got any questions for him? A machine gun of questions that come in. So I hope you're ready, Richard, for the question, which I know you are. But before we go any further, good to see you, brother. Tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about the Sports Beat.
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be on your show, Rod. I've been doing the Sports Beat for about 7 years now. It's a podcast that you could catch on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I go about 3 days a week. It used to be 5 days a week when we were on WQEE together. We were both on that station from 2002 to about 2004, beginning of 2005. I remember you came on at 12 to 2. I'd come on right after. And so we've had some crossover shows, and I'm just glad that I'm able to be back on your show. And it's fascinating that we're able to get back on the airwaves now at WQVZ.
Absolutely. And Ryan O'Radio is tuned in right now. He's the guy that's pulled it all together. He's the general manager. He's the coach. Richard and I are just we're just on the field of play every day. And Ryan is too. But the questions from the viewers that have come in are college and NFL. But can you explain to the people not in the South, because you agreed with me the other day, I said college football is bigger in the South than the NFL. Say why?
Yeah,
why
no
is that?
question about it. Yeah, Rod, I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area where they're not passionate about college football at all. I mean, you have your college teams like Cal, Stanford, in California, USC, UCLA, but it's a religion down in the South. I'm in Columbus, Georgia, where we have 45 minutes away from Auburn. We're in the state of Georgia, so there's Georgia, Georgia Tech, there's Alabama, there's passionate Florida fans, passionate Clemson fans. It's a different beast in the Southeast. And it's like one of those things that you got to be here to understand it. I've been to many college football games where, they're tailgating 4 hours to kick off. If you got Georgia, you got red and black. They're bleeding those colors. They got flags on their cars, and they are just hyped up about it. You just don't see that anywhere else. I mean, you might see it maybe at Ohio State or Michigan, Nebraska, definitely. But in the South, that's all they talk about. We got the Atlanta Falcons. I don't hear much about the Atlanta Falcons. I hear a lot about the University of Georgia here in Georgia, and Auburn, being in Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah. Well, and I'm in Florida, and I love it. I live in it. I see it every day. When you and I chatted the other day on your show, we never did a national championship pick. Have you thought about it? Do you have a natty matchup in your mind yet?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ohio State and Georgia. I actually ranked my top 10 teams in college football just according to how I think the season's going to play out based on the schedule, because not every good team is going to get in the college football playoff. But I do feel Ohio State's got the best team, and Georgia has been the class of the SEC. I know they got a tough schedule, but I could see them getting over the hump and getting past the quarterfinals to at least the semifinals or even the national championship game. But there's other great teams, Texas, Oregon. But I just think right now, Ohio State and Georgia, in my mind, are 1-2. I know the coaches poll had Georgia 3, but I'm excited to see whatever this season plays out, because I think that it's going to be fantastic just to see multiple teams from these power conferences try to beat each other out in the college football playoff.
Well, I'm going to be asking guys for their pick. I'm not going to remember everybody. I apologize. Do you say OSU, Georgia? Is that what you said?
Yes, Ohio State.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to say Texas, Oregon, and hold me to that. Hold me to that. I think I think I told you my buddy's kid's a long snapper for the Longhorns, so I'm kind of getting swept up in that. Hook 'em. You know how it is. So here's another one. I'll try to get to as many of the viewer questions as I can. Let's get them in, everybody. 902-518-3033 with Richard Holdridge from the Sports Beat. Ryan in upstate New York. He says, I got a question for Mr. Holdridge. During your segment, if the Jets win 6 games or less this year, is Aaron Glenn as good as gone? What's your coaching seat heat index in the NFL right now entering the season?
Oh, Aaron Glenn's seat is hot, but I think that if they show improvement, because remember, their starting quarterback is going to be Geno Smith. This is a second stint with the Jets. Could they be tanking for Arch Manning? Well, I don't think Arch Manning's going to go to New York. We know the Manning family; they're not going to want to go to New York. Dante Moore, another quarterback, Darian Menza. They might be looking for a quarterback in 2027. But if they show improvement, I just didn't see a whole lot in his first year. I thought they were going to let him go after year 1 and say, hey, we tried and we failed. I thought they never should have got rid of Robert Saleh. He was actually a pretty good coach. But if they show improvement, I think that if they win 6 games and they're competitive in these games, they might give Aaron Glenn another year.
But I don't think they have a chance. And to your point, I think we'll find out a lot more about Robert Saleh in Tennessee and how he does this year. But when you just mentioned this draft class, this is thought to be the greatest first-round draft class since, I think, 2021. If you had your pick of any of them, you rattle off all the names, who would you take if you had the number 1 overall pick?
I would take Arch Manning. I think that Arch Manning has proven that he has all the skill sets. You look at the Manning family, the history of, both Hall of Famers, Peyton and Eli winning 2 Super Bowls. Well, Eli's about to get in the Hall of Fame. He's close, but Peyton Manning, a Hall of Famer. Basically having the last name Manning, I know that Arch Manning is going to have success. He's got to be set up for success. Like a lot of critics, they got onto him last year after that game against Ohio State in the opener. Nobody's beaten that defense and Matt Patricia to open the season. That was an all-time defense. And Arch Manning continued to improve. There's a lot of pressure on Texas this year, not only to win the SEC, but to get to the college football playoff. But I still think that Arch Manning is the quarterback. You also got Dante Moore and you got Darian Mensah. We might end up seeing 3 quarterbacks being taken. It just depends on these teams like Arizona, Miami. Some of these teams that don't have a quarterback right now could have a long season and they could end up getting a top 3 pick.
Interesting you say that, because that's a really good point. The Las Vegas Raiders picked to have 3 wins. The Dolphins picked to have 1 win. It's kind of a lose-win because you could get a franchise quarterback next April. Jeff, the Stampeders fan, writes in. He says, Richard is right. I went to Stanford's home opener, and the atmosphere was nothing special. Utah Darren writes in. He says, what are Richard's thoughts on the Protecting College Sports Act? Will it help or hurt college athletics in the U.S.? Can you first explain to the viewers what that is, Richard, and then your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, I've seen some of the things that were going on as far as, we've seen Nick Saban in front of Congress. This act, it's a federal bill that it's basically establishing the NIL compensation, basically antitrust protection. They're trying to protect the athlete. It's very hard. It can be the wild, wild west when it comes to NIL deals. We know the schools that have more money than other schools, like Ohio State, Michigan, that have an incredible budget. There's a reason why Alabama is not going to be dominating for the longest time, because they don't have the NIL budget as these Big Ten schools do. But this bill limits the agent fees to 5%. It gives some safeguards and regulations, and I've always thought that NIL had to have some safeguards, but I think that the best players in college, they are going to go where the money is. We're not going to be able to change that. I want to see, that it says they mandate reporting for NIL deals over $600. Yes, according to this report that I pulled up, and it makes revenue sharing caps permanent with inflation adjustments. So if you're worth the money, you're going to get paid the money. But I don't think these schools are going to have ridiculous NIL deals. I think that eventually there will be some guardrails on these deals.
Well, it depends what your definition of ridiculous is. Some are ridiculous, but not across the board. So, I'm interested to see where it all plays out for sure. But you say the players will go where the money is. Anybody would. Like, I don't blame the players, do you? Like, that's the thing. You're sitting there in Georgia. Last time I drove through there, and you say it's bigger than the NFL, every billboard's a Bulldog player sign, ads, turn on your TV. It's all Bulldogs. Like, who does have the biggest NIL budget this year in football? Is it still OSU?
I believe it is Ohio State. Michigan also has a big budget. Indiana, that's why they won a national championship, because of the NIL money, and they had a bunch of 25 and 26-year-olds. When you have grown men going up against 18 and 19-year-olds, that's a huge advantage, and that's why Indiana was able to win the national championship. I don't think it'll be duplicated again, because people see what Indiana was able to do, and they want to try to get a blueprint to try to get that. But I'm actually looking at some of the top NIL deals right now. Gunnar Stockton, estimated NIL deal worth $2 million. Ernest Green, offensive lineman, and this is for the University of Georgia, $1 million. So, I mean, we saw Carson Beck getting a $4 million NIL deal. I mean, there are some crazy NIL deals. Georgia, it has kind of a medium NIL budget, but it's nothing compared to the Big Ten.
You asked me about Miami the other day when I was on your show. So, yes, Carson Beck made $4 million last year with the Hurricanes and almost earned it. They went to the national championship. Darian Mensah, just before I left Florida to come to Canada for the summer, Richard, this is what I heard. Darian Mensah's at $6 million, but they had to pay Duke $4 million to get him out of there. So they got $10 million invested in Darian Mensah this year. You want to talk about pressure on the kid?
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure on Darian Mensah, which, by the way, Miami is one of my top teams. I have them projected to win the ACC and get back to the college football playoff. I don't know if they get to the national championship, but we've seen quarterback play at Miami. at an all-time level. Cam Ward, we've had Carson Beck. Now we have Darian Mensah. Miami is absolutely loaded with talent. And I've seen Miami over the years, even those national championship teams where quarterback was a weakness. The team was absolutely loaded, and they just didn't really have a quarterback that could carry them. They had more of a game manager. Now they are putting a lot of stock on the quarterback play because this game has changed. And I think that Mario Cristobal has done a great job at the University of Miami getting them back to the mountaintop. Sometimes I ask, is the U back? Well, I don't think they'll ever be back to the years of the early 2000s when they had all those players that were in the NFL. But Miami can dominate the ACC. They have the NIL budget. They have the fan base. And they also have the history of winning. And I think that Miami is going to be fine, especially with the level of ACC play, which is probably going to guarantee them a college football playoff berth.
Well, and by the way, for this era of college sports, it's remarkable how many players they have back from last year's national championship team that played in their own stadium, like Malachi Tony, Fletcher, and so forth. So there's some experience there. I think that still matters. But by the way, Richard Holdridge is with us from the Sports Beat, WQVZ Radio. Our shows air on the same station, but we're also airing in Nevada on Silver State Sports, and they had a poll question. And I'm not going to hook you with this, Richard. I couldn't answer it, but they said, what's more likely, UNLV making the college football playoff or the Raiders making the playoffs? And I'm thinking, if you're not in the top 25, coaches poll or AP poll, you don't have a hope at the college football playoff. Do you think?
Well, I'm really high on UNLV, Rod.
I
thought that UNLV should have went to the Pac-12. You're in Vegas. There's a lot of Vegas money as far as NIL deals. You're playing at Allegiant Stadium. They're not only going to win in the Mountain West. I think that Dan Mullen is a very underrated coach. They got Jackson Arnold as their quarterback. I picked UNLV to be the lone member of the group of 5 to get to the college football playoff. Yes, they do have a tough schedule. That Mountain West, they don't have Boise State anymore, but they got North Dakota State. I mean, that's hard to believe that they're now an FBS school, but I still think that UNLV is probably more than likely going to get to the college football playoff compared to the Raiders winning and making it into the playoffs. Yeah, the Raiders got some talent on offense with Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, but right now Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. It's not time to put Fernando Mendoza in just yet. We don't know if Max Crosby is going to be able to stay with the Raiders. There still could be trade talks, but I do like Clint Kubiak as a coach. The Raiders will improve, but the AFC is stacked. It's hard to imagine the Raiders getting into the playoffs this year with all the quarterbacks coming back. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson missed the playoffs last year. We probably are going to think that he's going to be back. Aaron Rodgers just last year with the Steelers. So I think the AFC is loaded. I could see UNLV actually making the college football playoff before the Raiders make the playoffs for this season.
Oh, bro, you didn't just knock that out of knocked it out of the damn county. Forget about out of the stadium. Nice answer, Rich. The guy knows his stuff. You don't get on this show unless you know your stuff. Richard Holdridge with us from the Sports Beat, WQVZ Radio. Speaking of the coach's hot seat, by the way, you mentioned the AFC. I was reading a thing this morning. Joe Brady's seat is already hot in Buffalo, and he hasn't coached a game yet because he's taken over a 12-win team that's expected to go to the Super Bowl and win it. Your thoughts on what's going on up there in Buffalo?
This reminds me when the Chargers fired Marty Schottenheimer and they went with Norv Turner. Joe Brady has so much expectations to win and win right away. If the Buffalo Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl, because this is the expectations. You had your window last year. You had Patrick Mahomes wasn't in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, they were not in the playoffs. Josh Allen's best opportunity. You beat Jacksonville. That was great. You should have beat Denver. You were better than New England. For some reason, they ended up winning the AFC East. The fact that New England got to the Super Bowl with Drake May, that was Buffalo's window with Josh Allen. Now in comes Joe Brady. They've got a little bit more depth on receiver with DJ Moore. But Joe Brady, who is an offensive genius, is he a head coach? There's a big difference between a hot coordinator and a leader of 53 men in that locker room. A coach that is going to get players to run through a brick wall for you. I don't know if Joe Brady's that guy. He is an offensive genius. You saw what he did with the LSU national championship in 2019. But my big question is, can he win right away? His seat will get really hot if Buffalo struggles this season. But I think that he'll have at least a year or two, but they have to get to the Super Bowl. Otherwise, he might be headed out of town.
Colt from San Diego writes in and says, Skol Vikings, because they don't have a team to cheer for in San Diego anymore. We're out of time not to talk about Connor Murray versus J.J. McCarthy. We will next time. What do we got? Okay, we got 2 minutes left here. You mentioned your top 10. Do you have LSU in your top 10, Richard?
I do. I think that Lane Kiffin is going to have a little bit of a success with all those transfers coming over. I think Sam Leavitt, pretty good quarterback at Arizona State, got him to the college football playoff 2 years ago. I think he'll be fine. It is because the SEC is going to a 9-game conference schedule. He's got a tough schedule, but I think a 3-loss team will get into the college football playoff.
All right, we got 30 seconds with you. Where can they catch the Sports Beat?
You can listen to me on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. But you can listen to me on Sunday nights on WQVZ Mission Radio, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. The interview that we did with you, that will be on Sunday. It's been a pleasure, Rod. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm always honored to come on yours.
I love following what you're doing. You're doing great stuff down there, brother. I appreciate it, and glad to be radio partners with you. Just hang on, Richard. We'll let you go in a second, everybody. We will be coming right back with a sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone and viewer takeover. You can reach us at 902-518-3033 on the Western Dodge text line. And there we go. Thanks again, Richard. Have a great one, brother. Appreciate you. From the Sports Beat, WQVZ airs Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on our radio home. We'll be right back on Silver State Sports, Game Plus, and WQVZ.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, it is the RP Show. Welcome back, everybody. And time to jump into a sports update. There's so much sports going on. I just picked a few things. And I'm actually interested. Can you please listen up and give me your take? Do you care about this? Because I really don't, but I'm reading it anyways. Yankee Global Enterprises, the holding company that owns the New York Yankees, announced a $2.6 billion financing agreement with Apollo Sports Capital on Tuesday. The investment is a mix of credit and equity, providing the Yankees with capital to invest in growth and refinance debt. The Steinbrenner family will remain the controlling owners. Do you care? I mean, at the end of the day, you think Steinbrenner's kids giving up control? No. But I see it with the Lightning. I see it with various other sports teams where, I don't even understand all that stuff. Then that's what did you win or did you lose? Are you going to be in the World Series? Moving on. A lot of my friends, probably some watching right now, especially those in South Florida, are really into that. That's what they do. They're into it. But are you? As was talked about with Richard Holdridge, and man, was he good. That might have been Richard's best interview ever. He should be using that as a demo. Most new NFL head coaches arrive at their jobs with muted expectations. Win a few more games than last year, maybe make the playoffs, stop embarrassing us as a franchise and a city. But for Joe Brady, new head coach of the Buffalo Bills, the expectations are more straightforward. Win the Super Bowl. That's what happens when you take over a team that won 12 games last season, a team quarterbacked by an MVP, a team that spent the last 7 years beating its fist bloody on the heavy iron door of the playoffs. Forget honeymoons. Joe Brady's seat may as well be warm already. Woo. Yeah, I'll tell you what, for the CFL fans watching, it reminds me of 2011 when Greg Marshall took over our Saskatchewan Roughriders. We had just appeared in 3 Grey Cups in 4 years. He wasn't taking over a dumpster fire. He was taking over a Ferrari. Please just don't put it in the ditch. We started 1-7 and he was fired. Now there's mitigating. Wasn't, Greg will tell you, and he's a close friend of mine, wasn't his fault. There's a lot of stuff going on. But it reminds me of that. New head coaches don't usually get to take over a Ferrari. That's what Joe Brady's, just don't put it in the ditch, man. Marion Golf Club outside Philadelphia hosts the 126th U.S. Amateur Championship, where the field of 312 has been whittled down after 2 days of stroke play. There will be a playoff today to determine the final spots in match play before the round of 64 tees off. Among those who missed the cut are defending champion Mason Howell and last year's runner-up Jackson Harrington, as well as Preston Stout, the world's top-ranked amateur. The sports update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone. Shop UFZ, your authentic MLB fan store, for official jerseys, hats, T-shirts, hoodies, and more. Game day every day at UFZ. You can also get your Moose Jaw Miller Express tickets there ahead of game day because we expect to have a Game 3 Thursday night. By the way, I did it last hour. I'll do it here now. From my friends at USA Football and Football Canada, they're over in Germany right now participating in the IFAF, International Football of the Americas, flag, something. And I got a note from Team Canada, the head coach, Paul Lapalisse, who ironically is from New Hampshire. We always kind of got a kick out of that. He's an American coaching Team Canada. I was the voice and will be again of USA football being a Canadian. But Lapo was like, can you give us a shout out? We don't get any coverage with the flag football. And it's like, go Canada. I can firmly say that. That's who I cheer for in international competition of anything. We go through that in South Florida, by the way, and I'm sure they do in Vegas as well. Jack Eichel's American, Mark Stone's Canadian, all those guys. Sam Bennett's Canadian, Matthew Tkachuk's U.S. I feel like you don't have to do anything. You should cheer for the country where you were born. And for me, that's Canada. So go Canada at the World Flag Football Championships. That's all you need to know. I can't remember the official. It's like the IIHF, International Ice Hockey Federation. It's the International Flag of Football, the Americas flag, something. I actually have a story about that, and it relates to Super Bowl in Vegas. We'll talk about that when we come back in overtime. It's interesting. You never know who you're affecting. We'll be right back on the RP Show in a moment.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. We're back for Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We'll be live there next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Mountain, noon Eastern on the RP show. Colin Pedersen will be joining us at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They are inviting any hockey trainers, shooting trainers, to come on down and use their space for kids wanting to work on their shooting moving into the hockey season. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. We'll have Randy on the air with us to tell you all about that. So I was saying about the IFAF, I should have looked up in the break what it stands for. International Football America's Flag, something like the flag. I think it's based in France, which is the story that it reminded me. Super Bowl, whatever number, 58? I think it was. Las Vegas. I'm in Mandalay Bay, which was the headquarters of it all, really. The NFL Fan Experience was there. Radio Row was there. And I happened to be, Scruffy just showed up. We're going for lunch, and he's giving me the finger right now. How about that? We are in the lobby of the Mandalay Bay, and this guy, I can't remember who I was talking to. Watch your feet. I'm going to drop some names here, so be careful. I might have been talking to Peter King or one of these guys. And this guy trips over his luggage bag. He was coming over to see me. And I'm like, I know that guy. Monsieur Pedersen, Pierre Trochet, President, IFAF. I'm like, oh, right. You interviewed me in Charlotte at the national champ. Yes, I did. On the Olympic Network. And we had a great chat. I said, well, I'll see you around. I'll catch up with you this week at Super Bowl. Never saw him again. Wasn't my first Super Bowl, but probably should have got his number because we weren't going to see each other again. Pierre Trochet, the president of IFAF, who, as I Googled him, ran it through the Google machine here, the International Federation of American Football. Did you know that, Scruffy? What's that? What IFAF stands for? Yes. Oh, yeah, he knew. Of course he knows. He's a keener. That's how he knows. Pierre Trochet. He just showed up. He's right here. He's trolling me. He's trying to distract me. Pierre Trochet is the president of the International Federation of American Football, IFAF. And he was just like, I'm not lying. He jumped over his, you know when you get your luggage standing there with the thing up on top of it? Run. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. He remembered me. And when I say stuff was going on, like, you got to go to at least one Super Bowl in your life because it is just wild. And you don't have to have the passes and the inside stuff that we are fortunate enough to have. But do you remember Tommy Cutlets? I don't remember his full name. The guy that had his 15 minutes of fame. He's the back up in New England. Tommy DeVito, yeah, with the Giants. His agent was there selling T-shirts, Tommy Cutlets T-shirts out of a backpack. His agent was like Scott Stinson or something like that. Or do you remember that? Let me look it up. Let me go to the Google machine. Anyways, we're standing in the link of Mandalay Bay between the lobby. I'll put Tommy DeVito agent. Sean Stiletto. What did I say? Sean Stinson. Sean Stiletto. He was in snake skin shoes, a leopard print suit, and a fedora. Sean Stiletto selling Tommy Cutlets T-shirts out of a backpack right in the link between the lobby and Radio Row, which was a long lobby, which incidentally, that was our long hallway, long link. That was Peter King's last ever Super Bowl that he ever covered, that particular one, which I believe was Super Bowl 58. And, that's the one thing about these guys. 2014, Peter King did a tour through the Canadian Football League. He came to one of our games at Taylor Field. It was a monsoon rain day that day. Zach Caleros was sacked 9 times as a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And during a 90-minute rain delay, where I think we got 4 inches of rain in an hour and a half, Peter King came on the radio with me, and he remembered 9 years later. He was like, Rod, good to see you. Welcome to Super. It wasn't my first, but his last, I'll tell you that. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, Scruffy knows all. No, he doesn't. He didn't know Tommy DeVito's agent. Stop it. What are you paying this guy? Ken in Mississauga writes in and says, there he is. I'm not lying. He's here bothering me. It's a federal crime to interrupt a live broadcast. It's a CRTC violation and a crime to interrupt a live broadcast, just so you know. In Canada, in the States, it's worse. Ken in Mississauga says, will you have lunch stories with Scruffy for us? That's up to Scruffy. And the Mad Greek. Producer Corey says, snake skin shoes and a leopard skin suit. That's epic. I put it on my Facebook story, so I feel like 5 years from now, it'll come up on my Facebook on Super Bowl Sunday in my stories, in the memories. You know those? It'll be Sean Stiletto in snakeskin shoes, a leopard print suit, and a fedora. I filmed it. I'm like, nobody's going to believe this. I should have taken a photo of it, but I put it on my story. It was just, come on, man. I get an email from the NFL. John Taffer from Bar Rescue will be holding a news conference at 3 p.m. on radio. Why would I want to hear from John Taffer? But I do. That's the thing. That's why he's holding a news. I want to hear what John Taffer has to say. And at 4 o'clock, Carrot Top. And at 5 o'clock, Flavor Fave. Scruffy, you got to come to a Super Bowl with me. Well, the Vegas ones are different. What do they say? They do everything different there. And they do. And that's why the NFL is going back to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl. But it's in LA this year. I just wasn't prepared for it. But that's okay. Tomorrow, Kevin the Medium will be with us. And speaking of NFL quarterbacks, Henry Burris will be joining us from Tallahassee, Florida, the Hall of Famer, and NFL Radio. The smiling one will be with us. Thanks to Richard Holdridge. Dag nabbit, he was good today. Be good to everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
That